Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bright Founders Talk at Temi. Temi is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Welcome to our podcast, where we bring you the most inspiring stories of entrepreneurs and experts in the software development industry. And each week, we interview successful leaders who share their unique journeys and valuable insights. I'm your host, Barry, and today we're joined by a remarkable guest, Laurent Hausermann, co-founder and CEO at CyGO Entrepreneurs. Hello, Laurent. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Barry.
Thank you so much for taking time to speak with us today. I know you're a busy man, so I really appreciate you taking time of your day to speak with us. Now, for people who maybe don't know you or your company, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and the company that you work at?
Sure. The company I'm working from is a CyGO Entrepreneur, and we are the first cybersecurity venture studio. I will explain later what we mean by a venture studio and what our gigs there. But my background is mostly cybersecurity since I graduated, since 25 years. Always as a product builder, as someone building products, as a product marketer, product manager, engineering. Also, I led engineering teams and founders because I had the chance to lead two companies in cybersecurity and have two exits with big players, one with Airbus, one with Cisco. I would say a serial entrepreneur in the cybersecurity space, and now I'm willing to double down on that and build more companies and more successful ventures.
So you're right, you have had a very successful career, an amazing career, really. Were you always someone who thought that they were going to be an entrepreneur? Did you realize like entrepreneurship is my thing, or was it like a chance meeting?
No, I think it was always something I had in mind as long as I can remember. Being my own boss, having the freedom of do what I'm passionate about and follow my own threads. I think it was always very important. I won't say that I had a problem with authority, but anyone who wants to too much guide me is something a bit frustrating for me. I like to follow my intuition, do my own research. I'm kind of a self-driven person, so I think being an entrepreneur is what I had in mind for a long time. But it's also, to your point, was a special opportunity I took at some point on my life where my company I was leading was acquired, and then we had some family issues at the time, and someone died at that time in my family, and it was kind of a period of time where, well, what do you want to do in life? Well, that's something very important for me, and for when we discussed that with my wife, it was quite normal to say, well, do it now. That's the moment. That's the right time to do and to move forward on being an entrepreneur, founding your own company, and so on.
So you talked a little bit about venture studio. I think now's probably the perfect time to explain what you mean by that term.
That's a very interesting question because, behind the term studio, there is many definition. And when I say that, most of the time it's confusing for people because they mix up that with being a venture capital firm or being an accelerator, being an incubator. The definition I have is basically we have three roles in project we are leading. First one is we are the co-founder. We are bringing ideas. We do our own research. We really are acting as a founder of companies we are launching. Second, we are the first operating team alongside with our business associates and co-founders we are partnering with. And we provide engineering, marketing, product, hiring, talent acquisition, and tons of services that are needed at the very beginning. And when you are solo, it's quite complex and quite stressful to do all these things. So the entrepreneur working with us, they are very happy to have that operating team. And we are the first investors, the very first investors writing the very early check, even before the company exists, because we are really at the very start, maybe 6 months before any company has been incorporated. And so if you combine the three roles, then you are a studio. If you don't combine these three roles, you are not a studio. You are either an accelerator, either an investor. But the studio has skin in the game because he puts sweat and money in the company.
What about like the venture studio model, like makes it particularly effective for like cybersecurity startups?
That's something important because cybersecurity is a combination of different sectors. On one side, you have the, let's say, traditional SaaS sector, which is you build a software, you do some marketing, you try to scale very fast as any B2B SaaS startup. On the other end, it's something like a deep tech company because you need to have some specific industry knowledge. You have to be a domain expert of cybersecurity in order to be trusted by your customer. Because if not, why I should trust this guy or these guys? Because I don't really know what the kind of threats I want to protect myself against, but I need to trust the guy to develop the right solution for me, and etc. And so the studio are bringing that kind of trust to the market. They are bringing also the playbooks of growth and scalability as well. So that's something we are providing both. We are the first studio doing that in Europe. There is, and there are, it's remarkable, two or three major studios in the leading country, which is Israel. And these guys in Israel are doing that for 10 years. They have built maybe 30 companies now. All are very successful global businesses. And so it's also because they are providing that expertise, vertical expertise, niche kind of technology and cyber, their kind of playbook to grow, and the community that goes with all of that. Because you cannot do cybersecurity alone. You need to be collectively building your company. And that's something we are championing at CyGO because we think that we need to build a new European cybersecurity champion collectively with potential customers, with potential service company, resellers, consulting, investors. It's not just, a solo kind of play. It's really a collective play where we can build the better company we need in Europe.
Or like, what common mistakes do cybersecurity founders like make early on, and how do you help them avoid making them?
One of the biggest, well, I can give you two or three different, but the two which come in mind is first, they focus too much on technology because, cybersecurity is a very technical topic. But the problem is that you can have a wonderful technology and being in love with your tech, and no one cares because it does not fulfill any use case. And so what we do is we are not doing proof of concept. We are not letting them develop their solution in isolation, like being in their garage and coding all the day long. The first 3 months, it's go meet your potential customers, hunt for use cases, understand their pain points, understand their emotions, the gaps the market has, and through these discovery and interviews, you will learn where your potential ideas and potential technology you are going to develop later will be suited. So that's something very important. You need to have technology, you need to develop, you need to be a top-notch guy, but it must fulfill something on the market. So that item number one. Item number two I have in mind is be global very fast. I mentioned Israeli players where they are super smart, is that they build for 1 or 2 years in Israel and then they move to the US. In Europe, too much often we have founders who stay in their own country for years, maybe 4, 5, 6 years, if they are successful and they are able to have a sustainable business. And when they say, well, I've been successful in Germany for 6 years, now I'm going to do, I don't know, France or Netherlands. Guess what? American and Israeli players are already there. They are already established. They already have done the kind of discovery I was mentioning. They already have the trust of customers. And even you have the greatest product, why the customer should change? I mean, he's happy with what he has. And so what I say to founders is you need to be global from day one. You need to step ahead and go in at least 2 or 3 European countries from day one, because it will give you another kind of benchmark for your product. It will give you another mindset for your team and your company, and you will catch the biggest wave than the only the local one. And I think there is it's perfectly okay, I guess, as an entrepreneur, and I'm very respectful for anyone who is an entrepreneur. I mean, if you open a bakery or a supermarket or a pizza shop, that's super hard, and I know it. But if you want to do software, technology, and cyber, you need to be global from day one. That's the
It's
only way
really
to
interesting
succeed.
because that was my next question. So I'm actually going to amend the question slightly. Do European startups have, is it a cultural, is it a psychological, is it a environmental issue when it comes to European startups competing with their global counterparts?
It's not really linked to the environment. I'm not blaming any, I would say, regulation or government or I don't know what. I think the private sector, the people, we can do our own business alone. We don't have to wait anyone to open doors. Yes, it's hard because we have, let's say, 30 different countries, EU 27 plus UK plus Switzerland, Norway, it's 30 total. It's 30 different countries, many languages, many monies. But at the same time, we are in 2025 and there is the internet. Everyone speaks kind of English. I mean, it's more a mindset issue. I mean, it's the
Mm.
I think what we are missing. It's role model. People who have done it are vocal about it, and that's why I'm super happy discussing that with you because I think we need to spread that message more and more and more and more and repeat it until it goes to everyone's heads and anyone who start a company in I don't know Slovakia or Spain say, okay, I need to go in France and Germany in 2 months because that's where will be my next customers and not just the next region of my local country.
Amazing answer. Like, what role do you think your company, CyGO, can play in helping to strengthen digital resilience in Europe?
Well, that's a digital resilience, or sometimes it's called digital sovereignty. It's a tricky topic because for sure you won't go overnight from being dependent of, I would say, US technologies to be fully autonomous. I think we have, Trump is very vocal on tariffs and the fact that we are selling to the US tons of cars and manufactured goods. But on the other side, for digital services, including Netflix and Google and all these guys, we have a deficit of $300 billion between the US and Europe. So we have a massive issue. I think what we can do as CyGO is to, on our specific niche of cyber, and I guess there is tons of other studios and firms that who could help on other niches, which is to really catalyze a community and help that when you need to go abroad, as I said, very early in your company journey, you already have let's say a existing network. So especially for go-to-market, we are building within CyGO what we call the club, where you have service company. In security, it's called most of the time MSSP, Managed Service Security Provider. And these guys are the one who do the last mile for the customers, their local customer. And that they are the way to go to the market. It takes time, it takes trust with this person to really be trusted, deliver the right product, having the pre-existing connections to the CEOs and the operational team there in various countries. And that's what we are building within the studio, is really having that pre-established go-to-market and help companies to grow faster. Not saying for sure all the VC and people who are able to finance that because you need some money, but there is more money than good project to be funded, I guess, in my space. So it's really be global, be ambitious, and you will find people to fund it because you will have demonstrated what VC wants to deliver money. Yeah.
So I was looking at your LinkedIn profile earlier, and one of the topics that you mentioned is AI. So I'm not sure if this will be the answer to your question, but if you get your crystal ball out and you look to the future, like what cybersecurity trends do you think like will shape the next 5 years of enterprise and like government security?
Yes, thanks for the question. I'm running a newsletter named Cyber Builders where I'm covering all these trends and topics, some thousands of subscribers now. And AI is a major one. I mean, we are we are still, let's say, looking at unpack all the impact AI could have. I think the biggest one I see is scaling security operation. Most of the time when you talk to security professional, they are frustrated because there is more to be done than they are really able to do because they don't have time, they don't have skills, they don't have resources. And each time you need to do something else, most of the time you need to either buy a new platform which costs hundreds of thousands of euro as software, or a new person. And I think AI will be able to scale this operation, and it's kind of scary because I also heard many people say, "Well, I won't let AI do my job, or I won't let AI take any security decision for me." But I keep saying to people that 20 years ago or 15 years ago, we were all scared of a kind of machine learning, it was not AI system,
Yeah.
say, is it a spam or not a spam for an email? We were, well, I want to check where is the spam folder. I'm not sure the system is good, etc. Nowadays, who care? How often are you looking to your spam folder? Maybe once per quarter, twice per quarter, because there is some mistake, but the system is so well trained that it's okay. And that's a quite complex problem, I know, classifying spam. And I think for tons of other solution in cyber, we will see the same kind of pattern happening, where AI would be able to scale the way we triage alerts, we find vulnerabilities in source code, we decide whether or not a design is a good design, security related. I mean, tons of use cases we can really scale with AI, and let the people who have the issue having the security AI answering it at the right time, at the right moment, with the right context. I think there is many things to be done to scale and increase productivity here.
Do you think businesses and customers like really understand AI at the moment? Do you think they have their guess right about how AI actually performs, or do you think people maybe have they're overselling the capabilities of AI at the moment?
I think there is a bit of both. There is for sure some claims from vendors that are overstated, for sure. At the same time, I think businesses don't really realize how they would use it, because too much of time there is a shortcut that is AI equal chat GPT or equal Claude, which is a chat interface. And what I think is that we have not seen yet all the improvement in terms of UX AI could deliver, because maybe there is other way than chat, and probably there is other way than chat, to have the full power of AI. And I'm not sure we have seen them already. There is that German startup named N8N that is doing some workflows with boxes you connect, and then you have an AI box in the middle doing some magic. That's another way to, let's say, code an application. And I think on that kind of ID, UX, and the way we interact with it, there would be much more improvement than on the raw capacity of the models. And then businesses could really leverage AI at that time.
Do you think businesses like what is the biggest like misconception that enterprises have about AI and adopting it today?
Yeah, the biggest fears I've seen, especially from European customers, is, well, AI is yet another way to leak my data, because I will send that data to other kind of person, clouds, and American players, etc. And I think one thing which is overlooked is that researchers are making a lot of progress in what is called small models, small language models, which is models where you don't have thousands of billion of parameters, you just have few billions. And if you have few billions, you can run the model on a laptop or even on a smartphone, or the most modern smartphone. And so that means that probably in few years, we will be able to have that AI models and AI assistants kind of everywhere, including at the edge of the network and not at the core of it. that kind of trends will change a lot of things in terms of being afraid of leaking my data, because if you want, you can keep it, and you will need some compute. You would have to invest in compute, but at least you sure where the data is, and for a European who cares about privacy and probably GDPR and all these things, it's quite important.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a great answer, by the way. So if we just go a little bit wider, and not focusing specifically on AI, like if you could instantly solve like one challenge in the cybersecurity entrepreneurship, like what would it be that you would solve immediately?
That's a tough question. I think what we need to solve is the willingness to adopt immature solution. What I mean is, in cybersecurity, as the stakes are high, the customers are not changing their plans very fast. They are very slow adopters. They have strong interest. They are collaborating. They are discussing, etc., with many startups, especially in my ecosystem in Europe. But still, they are not saying, "Well, I give you 1 million and we deploy all across my big banks this year." And that's an issue because it makes sales slower. It increases the need of capital because you need anyway to develop the software, you need to hire sales, marketing, etc. So you have some cost, and you cannot fund this cost through the customer money. And at some point, that's the better money you can have, your own customer money to pay your employees. And so you don't have it, so you go to venture capital, which are great, but it could be very complex to, on the long term, balance all this valuation, turnover, etc. And that's a challenge. And the root cause of it is really in the first few years, being able to, as a customer, to say, well, I'm a large enterprise in Europe. This solution has the capacity to be the European champion. I'm going to commit a large amount of money to it through a big program. I'm going to be their advisor. I would have a kind of very tight relation. And yes, it's not what usually you are listening about, well, customer provider kind of relationship and procurement, and it breaks tons of things, but it could change the whole ecosystem with some people doing that.
My almost penultimate question, because we are running out of time, unfortunately. Like, where do you see companies like your own and cybersecurity startups like having the biggest impact over the next, let's say, decade?
I think a studio like CyGO is the new way to build companies. I mean, we are in the startup scene as kind of the craftsman age, where you are solo, you are an entrepreneur, you have a good idea, but it will take you years to really start building that business, because you need to pool so much resources, to connect to so much people, that it takes time when you are one, two, three. And I think a studio is a way to move from craftsman to manufacturing, which is to have pre-established networks, pre-established people. We can allocate resources ad hoc. I mean, when it's needed to do some marketing, we have marketers. When it's needed to do some engineering, we have engineers. And so at the very beginning, where everything is changing and you need to be super agile, that's probably a new way to build companies. And so I think in 10 years, it will be the leading way to build companies and to fund them. And now we are in kind of a transition. We see that model growing all across the world, and particularly in Europe. And I think that would be a major element in the coming years.
It's our flexibility and adaptability that's key, isn't it?
Yeah.
You had a lot of experience with companies. So as my final question, I always like to ask this one. Let's say there's someone watching this now who wants to be an entrepreneur, just like yourself. What advice would you give them in the early stages of whether entrepreneurship is right for them or not?
I think first they can connect with me. I'm having this kind of conversation many times with people who are wondering if it's for me or not for me, etc., or my team. And then most of the time the conversation is about: are you really think about all the consequences, including on the personal side, because sometimes people are, they are, let's say, imagining that they would be an entrepreneur, but on their own family life, it's not really possible because there is, I don't know, they have children they need to care for, or parents, or I don't know, or they are very, it's very important for them to have to live in some house, and they have a big mortgage on that. So I don't know. There is tons of cases I've seen. The pro-perso kind of personal life balance. And the second one is, do you have a plan B? Because if you have a plan B, if you are still looking at, well, either I go as an entrepreneur, or I could take that managing director offer, or I could be that engineer in that company, you are not really ready, because you are still comparing two things that are totally different. And so the main criteria when we select our partners at CyGO is, well, they have no plan B. They want to be an entrepreneur, and they are looking how they will do it. I'm not here to convince them as a studio that they should be an entrepreneur. I'm just want to convince them that cyber is a good topic, and it will be they will have more chance of success with us. It will be probably harder because we are very demanding, we are very intense, we have tons of processes, we want things to go very fast. So it's probably harder with us, but you have more chance to success. But you don't have any plan B. If you have a plan B, take that job. It will be better to take it now than in 2, 3, 6 months when you will be down, and it will be difficult, and you will always have that plan B in the back of your head. And that's time it will break the whole entrepreneurial project. So yeah.
A fantastic advice. Amazing. Look, Laurent, I just want to thank you so much again for taking time to speak with us today. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Barry.
That was Laurent Hausermann, co-founder and CEO at CyGO Entrepreneurs.